Well, you see that, everybody. There is a leopard's tail. What a wonderful start to the morning it is. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and on the camera we've got Davy. We are super excited. You're watching Safari Live, and we are here in the Djuma concession, Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa, and it looks like we have found Xidulu, literally not even 100 meters from camp. Now, I'm going to just be heading up and catching up behind her. There's an impala kill in the tree here, and that's obviously the reason she is here as well. And well, she's just had a nice feed. She's been moving off. Please don't forget to join us on the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat. Send us your questions and your comments and get involved on a very exciting morning game drive. Now, the reason I'm so excited is not only because I've just seen a leopard, but because we've been searching for them for the last few days. And, well, sometimes you need to make that sacrifice, eh? I'm not seeing anything for a good, solid few days. And then you get to see something as amazing as this. I'll just try to keep my shadow off of her. And we also don't try to get too close to Xidulu. She can be a little bit... oh, sorry, one of the Djuma vehicles just going to pass in front. I'm going to stop in front. Okay, I didn't. And I don't want to put my shadow on her. Romit, I agree with you. So good to see a leopard so early in the morning. It is fantastic. And she's had a good feed, but I do believe that she potentially isn't the one that killed that impala that she was feeding on, because the amount of meat that has gone from that animal does not equal the amount or the size of her belly. So whether or not it's Hosana or Tingana or Hukumuri that potentially has killed that ram impala, stuck it up the tree, he's had his fill, and she's come along now early this morning and had hers as well, that would be wonderful too, because there's been a male lion tracks, leopard tracks up and down just near to the road where we are. So I think that it is indeed a very good opportunity that we might see a few leopards around today. I'm just going to get a little bit ahead. You can hear a lot of impala and squirrels, alarm calling. So let's just get ahead here a little bit, and then we can sit and just watch her move through. Let's do that one just for now. I will go a little bit further ahead in a minute, but let's just get a nice view on her for now. Got that beautiful 5-5 spot pattern. It's not easy to see now while she's moving, and you see how that tail has gone up now. She's not looking to hunt at all. That's a very confident walk there. Might mark a little bit. There we are. The squirrels are going crazy. Okay, let me try and get a bit ahead of her, right in front of her. Okay, everyone, so I'm going to try and get nicely in front of Xidulu, get us a lovely view, but while we've got this exciting start, I know David's out on the vehicle and James is out on foot. I'm sure there's lots of tracks on his side. Off you go to him.
Good morning, good morning. What a start it's been to this glorious yet chilly morning in May. The sun has popped up. It is glorious gold, and of course we have leopard. Wonderful. We don't have anything just yet on Bushwalk. My name is James Henry, I forgot. Frame me with the sunbeam.
Letting you strap up.
There we go. Good. VM is on camera, as you heard. Good. Herbert is on security detail, and we are going to see if we can find tracks of Hosana. That's our general goal, but we'll look for lots of other little things, such as that very angry blacksmith lapwing over there. Please do, of course, talk to us using the hashtag Safari Live and the chat stream on YouTube. And having looked at that impala on camera, I think that it was definitely... that she may well have killed it, but that hyenas had a go at it and tore it to pieces, and that's why she took it up that tree. The hyenas were going crazy around here before we went live today. At about, a long time before we went live, probably at about 6 o'clock, they started going really, they were making that loud cackling sort of sound, which indicated that they were fighting over some food. So I think only the front part of that impala was left there. Ali, no, it's too far away. The deceased impala from yesterday that Viam and I found is a long way to the west and north of where we are here. Probably about, at least a mile as the crow flies. So, no, I really don't think it's the same impala. Highly unlikely that anyone would have bothered to drag it down here rather than just eat it in situ. So I think that impala was one of the rutting many on quarantine clearings and got whacked, probably by the leopard. Then they fought over it with the hyena, and I think that's why there's only half of it left. And certainly it looks like the skin's been peeled off, almost like it, not to be too gory, has been ripped apart, and then half of it taken up the tree, and I think that's what's happened there. What a great way to start a morning, eh? Doesn't often happen like that. So let's go back to the moving Xidulu.
Yes, everyone, well, she's living up to her name. Look at that. Just resting up next to a Xidulu, which means termite mound, because that's what she loves to do. Now, she's had a wonderful feed. She hasn't over-exerted herself in terms of eating too much. But now she's starting to groom a little bit. And like James said, I'm definitely convinced that this is her coming to feed on somebody else's kill. I definitely think it was a male leopard that hoisted that ram up the tree. And for me, whether it's Hukumuri or Tingana, Hosana, it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to be spending time here now near to this carcass and see who comes to claim it. And I have a feeling it might be Hukumuri. But let's hedge the bets. Whose is it, everyone? Hukumuri, Tingana, Hosana? Let's see what you all think. Hukumuri's been in the area. Excuse me. Hosana has also been around camp, and so has Tingana. So we've got a choice between the three, and let's even put a fourth one there, an outside chance of a somebody else. Maybe it's Djuma, maybe it's Quarantine, maybe there's a new male in the area. Who knows? But the chances are
drive. My name is David, and manning the camera is Craig. How exciting with all the great start this morning with a leopard on top of a tree, and we just had some very good news of hunting dogs. We want to find out where they are. They are around this area near my favorite spot of the Chitwa waterhole, so we're gonna look very quickly and find out where they could be. Just stand one, hang on for a second, keep going. And the unbelievable, we're gonna go very, very quietly and sneak at hunting dogs. I have never seen hunting dogs in a long time. So Craig, is that good or do we move forward?
They're just lying at the...
Alright, we'll take you back to Raf in the meantime as we try to get our wild dogs quietly. Sorry about bad signal. Keep going. Stop here. Okay, stop.
Hi everyone, look at this view. The sun behind that termite mound and Xidulu living up to her name next to a beautiful termite mound. That is stunning. Picture perfect. Bit of a postcard. That golden light just coming through behind her. There are squirrels going crazy in front of me. I'm sure this is going to be a red letter day. I can feel it already. Heading out of camp this morning, I didn't really think there would be anything too exciting. So it seems like the poll that has come through, it seems the majority of folk, just over 50%, thinking that it's Hukumuri that's raised that ram into the that impala into the tree, and it's about 17% that say Tingana, and then there's a very small percentage that think it's Hosanna. So the majority of folk thinking with me that it's Hukumuri, but maybe I've led everyone in that direction. I don't know, but you guys also know quite a lot. Now, very exciting on David's side, off to him.
Well, nice ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable. This is one of my greatest days in my life. We got right there. Wild dogs. I was doing a Ferrari safari a few minutes ago and we were flying down. There were news of another leopard that was spotted apart from what we had with Ralph. And then on our way there, we got this unbelievable news. A pack of wild dogs, and this is always a very big prize to be won here. Any day you're out on a game drive and you see wild dogs, and especially when they're not moving. What a start for me this morning. This is fantastic news. I initially thought I was going to get my first leopard in South Africa, and things got even more spicier, things even got more better, and I heard of the wild dogs, and we raced here with Craig, and at one point I thought I lost Craig in the car, and I just turned and I just saw him airborne. Great boy, he was holding for his dear life. Well done, Craig, for having been such a good boy to get us here in one piece. We have a very expensive equipment of cameras to protect and take care of. And this is unbelievable. And again, this adds to what I've been saying, that this is one of my favorite spots, the Chitwa waterhole. And to see these dogs static there, either they're full or they're just happy, or it's still a bit cold for them to start moving. But to see them motionless is unbelievable. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. A week ago we had news of wild dogs. There were 2. I was with James, and every corner we took, they would go in the opposite direction. At one point, the best we saw was just a tail of one of them. This is a very different ball game from what we had last week. We raced, and James almost broke the car. But look at this now. We also got wild dogs in Kenya, but very difficult to spot them in Kenya. And I think either in Kenya they are always afraid of people or they keep getting away. But this, to me, is very, very different. We see them in Kenya too, but they are always on the move. YouTube viewer, you say they look very cold. Yes, and it's not only them. Even me, YouTube viewer, this morning I got about 6 layers. 6 layers, YouTube viewer. I don't know if you can see, if I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus that makes 6. I was asking Craig earlier if he could offer me his gloves, and he said no, because he needs them to work on, right, Craig? But yeah, it was very, very cold this morning, YouTube viewer. But I don't know how cold it is back to you, YouTube viewer, how you are. But yes, you can tell they're cold, and you'll realize they're just out there on the substrate to keep warm. Well, these are very, very unique predators, but there's another predator that is on the move right now.
Well, everyone, it seems like the majority of us that said Hukumuri were incorrect. The ones that said Tingana, that killed that impala, are also incorrect. And the ones that said Hosana were also incorrect. In fact, it was Xidulu who made that kill. But what happened was she made the kill. She killed that ram impala. She was feeding on it, and she got chased off by some hyenas. The hyenas ate themselves quite full before she came back and took it up the tree once it had been lightened up by the hyenas. So, in fact, we were all incorrect, and I got that information now from Rex, one of the game scouts and guides at Djuma, and, well, that's what has happened there. So we were right in assuming that she wouldn't have just killed it and then hoisted it, but we were incorrect in assuming that it was a male that has done it. She has done it, hyenas eaten, and then she has taken it off. Well, welcome to everybody that's just joined us. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and we're in the Djuma concession in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa, and we are sitting watching a leopard called Xidulu, very aptly named because that means termite mound in Shangaan. And where else in the world would you be able to get up in the morning, have a lovely hot coffee, head out on a game drive, and find a beautiful animal such as this one? This is a female leopard, and she has just made an impala kill not too far from us. She has been feeding on it quite a lot, and she has also been chased off by the hyenas, who have eaten quite a bit of her prize, but then she has returned and hoisted the remains of this impala up the tree, and we'll go and have a look at it in a moment if she moves in that direction, but we'll be sticking with her, this beautiful cat, Leopards of Djuma in the Kruger Park of South Africa. What a morning it is! Randy, thanks for your comment. I love these animals. I agree with you, Randy. They are spectacularly beautiful. And she's got a very particular face to her. Beautiful female leopards. Now, just a note that there are some other game viewers with us. We have a maximum policy of 2 vehicles plus 1 in a sighting, and that just keeps it nice and exclusive, but available for other people as well. Now, this is not the only exciting animal that we're watching at the moment. David, our Kenyan friend, here in the Djuma concession, has also found a group of fascinating animals.
Hello everyone, and from my side of the world is a very good morning, and I am in South Africa as much as I come from East Africa in a country called Kenya, and my name is David, and with me on the camera is Craig, and just look what we just found there, and how exciting to see wild dogs. I come a long way from South Africa, about 1,800 miles from here, or 2,800 kilometers from Kenya, and I'm so excited to see wild dogs for the first time in South Africa. And we are very, very close to one very great lodge here called Chitwa Lodge in South Africa, and what a great country to come, and what a great lodge to come and stay in. And these wild dogs, I would say, give or take, they're less than half a kilometer from the waterhole you see in the background there of this very beautiful lodge. This to me is epic, epic, epic. I see wild dogs once in a while in Kenya. It takes so many months to see them, but I've been here barely 2 weeks, and just look at that. Dasha, you say, it's so great to watch this live. And yes, for me, the game drives I've always done in Kenya have been very get in the car. But now, to bring this live to you, even for me, it is magic, Dasha. And I shall tell you, we are so lucky to see them not moving 1 inch. I mean, wild dogs are some of the fastest predators I've known in my life. You see them here, the next 10 seconds, they could be like half a kilometer away. They move fast. To see them just there for us, and, you know, it's very epic, as I said there. And what morning? In the background there is the waterhole of Chitwa, and there's my big friend James, who is still walking around.
This is one of the best possible ways to get close to the wilderness, and of course in South Africa, walking safaris are de rigueur, as they say. In other words, we do them all the time, and if you ever want to be close to feeling the to touching and smelling and feeling the sense of the wilderness, this is the way to do it. Walking down towards the riverbed here, hoping to find some leopards there. See if we can't find leopard, which would be wonderful. My name is James Henry, by the way. If you wish to ask any questions, please do so at will. We're just going to speak nice and quietly now as we head into this very thick bush. Oh, and come over here. Being on foot obviously also allows us to look at some of the smaller things. You can walk all over South Africa, up in the mountains, down in the Bushveld where we are now. Some of the world's best hiking trails are found here in South Africa. We have here a special spider. I'm sorry about the bad picture. We're going to continue enjoying the spider. Let's go back across to the leopard.
Well, everyone, we're back and we're watching Xidulu. She hasn't moved much, but I'm sure she's got a reasonably fat belly now. I think what she might do next is either go back for a feed or potentially go down to a little pan and have a drink just to wash down what she's eaten. Rachel, thanks for your question. It's in the region of 14 degrees Celsius, about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a rather cool start to the morning, but it's not very cold. Within an hour or so, we're going to have about a 10-degree increase. So that's Celsius, probably about 15 or 20 degrees in Fahrenheit. So not very long, and we're going to be nice and hot. There's not a cloud in the sky. It is an absolutely beautiful autumn morning, and what a better way to start than having a leopard just grace us with her presence. A beautiful Xidulu, the termite mound sitter. Now, Laurie, there have been some cheetah in the greater area in the last few days, but we haven't been able to spot them. They've been very fleeting little sightings on the edges and on the boundaries of our traverse. But, well, we've got a leopard that we're watching here at the moment, and David, our Kenyan friend who is with us, he's sitting with wild dogs. So, well, we don't have cheetah, but we do have leopard, and we've got wild dogs. So, wow, that is incredible, and just one of the ways that you could be starting a game drive here in South Africa. And, well, that's just a little taste of what you could be getting if you come out to our beautiful country and stay in one of our wonderful lodges. And that's it for us for now from the Djuma concession out here in the Kruger National Park. So welcome back just to all our regular viewers. I was just doing another South African tourism broadcast there, advertising our beautiful country, just so that you know I wasn't being silly. I was just doing an action broadcast for that particular purpose. Now, Xidulu is stationary. I'm hoping she's going to go for a drink or back for another feed. But in the meantime, let's go see what those madash, as we call them locally, or wild dogs, are doing with David.
Right, Xidulu made us have very good. Xidulu gave us a very great flying start morning for all of us, and I think Xidulu has brought good things, good things to better things, and hopefully she will go for a drink, which will be very exciting. And we are right here where we were with our pack of wild dogs, and if you look in the background there, you can see the waterhole, and you can see all the mist or the thermals going back. Yes, Craig, and that is not very far from where Chitwa Lodge is. I'm sure Craig can sneak into some of the rooms, that area, and that's the Chitwa Lodge in the background there. And as I was saying earlier, it is so close. These wild dogs are very, very close to Chitwa Lodge, which could be a great place to visit. And just to have the hippos there, we shall be seeing them as soon as the mist clears a little bit. And Ladybird, yes, you're saying the mist is awesome. I am also enjoying it as the heat of the day is coming up and the water is evaporating, Ladybird. Yes, I agree with you 100%. A combination of the mist, the waterhole, the backs of the hippos, and the wild dogs right in front of us, that combination could not be matched anywhere else. And this, I would say, has made my day, and I would be more than happy to enjoy some nice meal today, and as I reminisce that, or remember this special sighting. I would say we are still very, very lucky. They have not moved all this time we've been here. They're still where they were. It's a bit cold. That could be one of the reasons, and maybe most likely they are full. But these dogs are always fast. They move very, very quickly. And strange, unlike most predators or most animals where you'll get when new ones are born and the males tend to leave, in wild dogs, the females are the ones that immigrate. The females will always leave the pack and related males remain together. So very strange for wild dogs. We notice the females, once they mature, they'll always move and go have their own lives. But the males tend to stay together. Liz, hello, and how are you? And you'd like to know the Swahili word for the wild dogs. I hope you got a pen and paper. But we say umbwa mwitu. Umbwa mwitu, which is M-B-W-A. That's umbwa. And umbwa means a dog. Even the domestic dogs that we have, or you may have at home, we'll also call them umbwa. But now, because these are wild and they belong to the wilderness and the natural out there, we call them mwitu, which is M-W-I-T-U, Liz. Umbwa mwitu. I do not know whether you have a local name for the wild dogs where you come from, Liz. YouTube viewer, you'd like to know if the hippos will chase away the wild dogs. That would rarely happen, and they have their space, as we have noticed now. But you see, if Craig, you can zoom in a little bit to the hippos in the water now, they have come all together. They are always like 2 here, 4 there, 6 here. But what I can read in these hippos here, they have all come together because they can tell the wild dogs are close and they want to keep their eyes open. And wild dogs will always go for any prey, and they don't care. And very, very quickly, they can bring down a young baby hippo. But as it is now, there's a status quo. Hippos on their side, wild dogs on their side. And I haven't seen during my years in the bush either wild dogs going for baby hippo, but there could be a possibility. But YouTube view, I think for now, all looks good, and I highly doubt they would chase the wild dogs. Karen, I like your question. If the dogs are called, why are they not gathered together? Normally, yes, when that happens, you'd see them getting together, but I don't think it's that called for them. And what they're doing now, they're getting a lot of heat from the substrate, a lot of heat from the ground, from the soil. And if you look carefully, none of them is laying on the grass. They're all laying in open, bare ground, where I would say the soil is a bit warm. And because of their fur, I think cuddling together may not help them very much. Unlike animals like hippos, which do not have fur, and the body, contact would give them more heat, the wild dogs, because of their fur, that may not have much use, Karen, I would guess. And that's why, they just cuddle individually and just stay on the substrate. So that way, they keep warm. Just look at lions, for example, of any animals that have fur. There's that space between the skin and, say, half an inch or 1 inch of fur. So that may not help very much. But animals like we human beings, without much fur, if we have body contact, how we hold small little babies, we tend to keep warm. But if you're wearing clothes like me, 5 layers, and yourself, Karen, 3 layers, even if we come together, that might not help very much. But on animals without much fur, it would help a lot if they come closer. So the wild dogs, I highly doubt, because of the fur they have on their body, that may not help if they come close together. This will spend a better time of my day here enjoying these wild dogs, and my friend James is still on the move.
I'm quite pleased that we don't have to huddle together for warmth. I find the thought of huddling together with everybody in the camp quite disturbing. I'm sure they would find it equally disturbing to think of huddling with me for warmth. So, David, yes, indeed, we can put on layers. Wild dogs must huddle. We do not have to do such. Phew, what a relief. Now, I'm sorry about the lack of signal last time I was with you. You want to know what spider that was? And I actually don't know. It was quite interesting. It wasn't one of the tent web spiders. It wasn't an orb web spider. It had just created this massive mesh of silk, and I don't know what it was, so I think we'll have to go and find out about what it was exactly. Anyway, so sorry I can't identify that for you just yet. One day, hopefully, I will be able to. We are now heading towards Treehouse Dam, which is not too far from here. We'll see if we can find some tracks going on there. We haven't found any tracks so far, but the morning is heating up. It's becoming quite pleasant, and there are some elephants that move towards that direction during the course of the night, so maybe we'll pick up on them. But when you've got dogs and leopards in the offing, it's quite a relieving feeling of pressure release. Ooh, look at this. Just quickly show you the succulent plant that has popped out of the ground. And I think it's probably the beginnings of one of those kalenko plants. I think it is. Oh, no, it's not, I've seen this before. The name I've forgotten while I figure it out. Let us head back to Ralph Kirsten and the leopard.
Thank you, yes. And, well, I feel so privileged now because I've spent a little bit of time with Xidulu, but she's always been rather fleeting, always keeping us following, and we never really get much time to actually sit and watch her. I got her on foot the other day, and that was probably the longest time that she actually lay still or gave us an opportunity to see her. And I'm just seeing that wonderful spot pattern of hers. She's got 5 on each side, but it's quite individual as well, because both sides she's got one little dot above the other 4, and on this side she's got 2 that almost merge into each other. You see there 1, 2, and then 2 that are almost 1, and then 1 just above it. And then on the other side she's got something similar to that as well, which we can't see for the minute as she's grooming and facing the other way. But wonderful to have her also on quarantine with very low grass. Swapna Xidulu, if I'm not mistaken, she's in the region of just between 3 and 4 years old. So it's a young female leopard and still full of beans in comparison, for instance, to Tandi, who's had quite a few different sets of cubs, and she's also been alive a few years longer. She's just got, that sort of mature kind of look and way about her, whereas Xidulu has still got the innocence of youth and the exuberance and bounce of a youthful female leopard that hasn't had a set of cubs as yet, and still in that very young age, but she's fully adult, and it seems she has also been mating with at least one male leopard, Hukumuri. Now, Anna Marie, I'm also wondering if Xidulu is pregnant yet, or she might fall pregnant soon, and it would be wonderful if she could den near to our camp, or at least on the Djuma traverse, so that we could be seeing her regularly. Let's hope she doesn't disappear back off into the unknown areas that she does when she leaves our property. But that fat belly there is not babies, that is meat from the impala that she's been feeding on this morning. And I heard hyenas around camp last night doing their giggles, and it really sounded like they were having a little bit of fuss about food. I know hyenas when they're around food and the noises they make, and that was exactly the noise they were making this morning. And so my suspicions were correct when we left camp and we found Xidulu on that impala. That's why the hyenas were full of themselves as well. They'd found her with the impala on the ground before you see, with a big ram like that, she's not really big enough to carry a whole ram up a tree. Kathy, that's an interesting question. If they get tired, or females during pregnancy, I think for me, all the female predators have evolved not to get too big and heavy in their pregnancy phase, because of that particular reason, not to be getting tired, to still be able to hunt, to still defend a potential territory, fighting off other leopards and males off of kills, etc. So they don't really even show when they're pregnant, and it goes the same with lions, leopard, hyena, and the smaller cats. Not really much to show on the belly front, and sometimes you don't even know they're pregnant until they give birth, and they definitely get a lot fatter when they gorge themselves full of meat. So I'm sure that it does have an effect on them, because they might have up to another 5 little bodies that are taking a lot of nutrients from their body inside of them. So I'm sure that they get a little bit more tired than usual, but whether or not it has a major effect on them, I don't believe it does, because of that evolved nature of just keeping things very small, very simple, and enabling them to be able to continue as a real true predator and not putting themselves in a precarious situation when they become pregnant. There we can see that spot pattern on this now on her right side, very similar to the one on the left side, where those two at the back are almost merged, and you've got one dot above it and then two that are nicely separate. So a very clear 5-5 spot ratio on her snout. So this is absolutely stunning, everyone. The only thing better would be if she would go on the other side of the termite mound and present herself in the glorious morning sunlight. But while we hope for her to do that, let's head you on back to David with those beautiful painted dogs.
Yes, hopefully Xidulu will continue giving us wonderful profiles, and she'll go up on the termite mound. I learned Xidulu is a local name meaning a termite mound. So yeah, the wild dogs are up now, and you notice one thing they do. The moment they're up after a little rest, the first thing they do will be to greet each other. Look at that. Hello, good morning, how did you sleep? Look at that. That's the first thing they do anytime they wake up. Before they start the day, they sniff each other. They'll say hello. How are you doing? Did you sleep well? Did you have good dreams? All that are what they're doing now. They're greeting each other, and it's also kind of reestablishing their bonds and keeping the connection close and bonding tighter. Interesting. You may see something very close to this with the hyenas, but hyenas is when they come after they have separated for a long time. But these ones here have been together. They've been like 1-2 feet apart, but still the first thing they'll do once they wake up is to greet each other. What a sighting, eh? Sharon, your question is, how close are the wild dogs related to the domestic dogs? They are, and in fact they even share certain diseases, for example rabies. But one big difference is their behavior of hunting. Wild dogs will always say, for example, get their prey, catch it live, and sometimes they'll eat their prey, when it's still alive, and they're very crude and they're very brutal when they get to their prey, and the domestic dogs don't behave that way. So I would say these guys are more brutal, and they are a lot faster than the domestic dogs. Smaller in size if you look carefully, and you see the body pattern there, and their ears are also much larger than the domestic dogs. I hope that Sharon explained to answer your question. Australia, you think they need something to eat, and you're right, and I don't think it's the hippo they want to eat. And you can see one of them is right on the edge of the waterhole there, and the hippos are like, give or take, 20-30 meters in the water there. Let's see, Australia, what they may want to eat. Maybe go for a drink? Maybe think who to go for? Let's just find out. They all have rearranged themselves, they've changed positions, and they might start getting active now, Australia. And I'll tell you, Australia, these are some, to me, of the most successful predators. Ramesh, your question, or you're asking where or why we don't have wild dogs in the Mara, and I'll tell you, I'll correct you. we got loads and loads of wild dogs in the Mara, but it's just rather difficult to spot them. But in Masai Mara, Kenya, we got loads of wild dogs. It's in the whole country, but it's rather difficult to see them, unlike here. Here, it's the first time I'm seeing them, Ramesh. But every 2 days, we'll get news up in the air. Wild dogs here. We rush there, they're gone. Wild dogs there. We get there, they're gone. But yes, also in Kenya, just to let you know, Ramesh, we got wild dogs too. And there's one part of Kenya called the Tsavo National Park. If you look on your map there, you can see it's one of the largest national parks in East Africa, or rather in Kenya. And that's one place, the last wild dog I saw there, I saw a pack of about 65 wild dogs. A pack of 65 wild dogs. And they were in den, and they stayed in that den for about 4 days without moving. And we saw them every other day. So that was one of my largest sighting of wild dogs, Ramesh. They have settled down again, and after the greetings, I'm sure maybe, I do not know what could be going on in their mind, but you see now, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them now are all up and looking at different directions. And in every pack of, wild dogs, there'll be a breeding pair. There'll be a leader, male and female, and they make all the important decisions. So I'm sure in this 8 here, there's the breeding pair that will decide what will happen next. They're all looking, 3 of them in that direction, and from the background there I can see an impala from a distance. I do not know what they're thinking. One is still focused looking at the hippos. I'm not sure it's enjoying the sight of the hippos or debating, can a hippo be good for breakfast or not? Sorry, what did Dale ask? Sorry? Dale, your question is there only one type of wild dog in the world? I do not know that for a fact, but in Africa, this is the only type of wild dog that I know. And I do not know whether there's a different type or different types other parts of the world, but in Africa, this is the only one that I know of that we also call the Lycaon pictus or the Lycaon pictus. So I do not know anywhere else outside Africa, but in Africa this is the only type, Dale, I know of wild dogs. I might find out later, see from my senior presenters, guys, James and the others, if maybe there are other types of wild dogs in the world. Dale, do you got wild dogs where you come from? They're getting closer to water, and it's a fresh water hole. They might go for a drink, and the hippos are also going, red flags up, just in case. And I'm not sure those two are trying to mate or they're just playing there. Craig, can you see that? There could be an exciting moment in the morning. I'm not sure they're cutting. I'm not sure what he's up to. And he is trying to sniff her. Not interested. Let's get close to the water. And James is still on the move.
Well, it would be a little bit disturbing if I was not on the move, really, don't you think? I suppose unless I'd find something interesting, which we have found something relatively interesting. It is a small mustard-coloured beetle. Do you see it there, Vim? Mm-hmm. There it is. I'm just trying to get it out of the shadows. And it is almost immobile because it's so chilly, and it'll warm up now as the sun hits its back. It always, as I say, or as I have said, insects at this time of the year always make me feel slightly sad because I feel like they've missed the boat. They've missed the warmth of the summer. And so it's difficult to see how they will reproduce. Let's take him off here. I will put him back. But I just want to have a closer examination of him. I don't think he's dead. No, he's not dead. He's just very, very cold. And I think he's probably some kind of chafer, fruit chafer. Looks like he might be looking for flowers to eat. But I fear me he's going to be sad. There we go, he's moving. See, it just needed to warm up a bit. That's quite fun. Romet? No, I wouldn't consume a beetle. I suppose if I was desperately hungry and I knew it wasn't toxic, I might consume it. But no, in general, beetles are not something that I would choose to eat. If I was desperately hungry, I'd probably go for something like a termite before I ate a beetle. There we go. Well done, young fellow. Alright, let's put him back on his tree as we go back to the wild dogs and the wild David.
Well, I think here their day or the morning could be starting, and look at all that interaction going on there. They just stopped, and again, as I said, once they are up, the first thing will be to greet each other, sniffing each other, re-establishing the bonding. And now they could be on the move. Who knows? And once they move, I can tell you the pace, the speed is unbelievable. It's just like when you see those Kenyans running there in the marathon. Very difficult. And you can look at their bellies. They look very full to me. And sometimes they have been known to regurgitate some of the food in them. And they will always share. That's a big boy there. And knowing how rare they are to spot, we've got some people who will research on them, and you might have seen that one had a collar on the neck. So 2 are up, and you've got 6 still laying down there. It's always rather difficult to tell which is the breeding pair. So yeah, I mean, your question is, will wild dogs ever go for a swim? I would think so, not really swimming, but I've seen them going through a river very, very comfortably to the other side. And yeah, just like our domestic dogs, I would think, they can do that. I've seen them go on, well, it was not a very big river or very deep river. You could see they had their heads up, and they were chasing some zebra, and they got it. I would say yes, they would go for a swim. And as I was saying earlier, it's always very difficult to tell the breeding pair from wild dogs. What's the name? Yana was the name of the questioner? Yana, you're asking if a crocodile would take down a wild dog. I highly doubt that scenario would happen. And rarely they come in conflict with each other. I highly doubt, Yana, whether that would happen. I haven't seen it, haven't heard of it, but again, you never know. Out in the wilderness, so many things happen that we don't see, but I would highly doubt that would happen. 2 are up and on the move. And as I was saying earlier, it's very, very difficult to know which will be the dominant or the breeding pair in a pack of dogs, especially if all of them are of the same size. What you have noticed once in a while, if you see the pair that keeps, urinating and scent marking, that one will definitely give away and tell you that is the dominant or the breeding pair. Unlike other predators, in packs of dogs, you'll have one male and one female that will only mate and bring the pups, and not any other male or female will be allowed to do that. Very, very special hierarchy they got. Not sure if those are the two up there. There's the male going back to join the others. And we'll be here with Craig for quite some time, and Xidulu might have an update for us.
Well, Shudu hasn't done too much in the last little while, except just groom a little bit and keep looking around in the area. I'm very sure that she's going to be going back to that meet at some stage, possibly after she's had a little drink or a rest. It's been probably quite a tiresome evening with her having to kill that ram, chase off or dodge hyenas, and then getting that impala up the tree as well. So she's probably quite tired, and she's had a bit of a feed, which would make her even more tired, because you know how you feel after you have a nice big meal. It generally makes your eyes very heavy, and we're starting to see that a little bit with her now. But it's a very nice time for leopard in terms of the time of year, because the impala, especially the males, are very silly at this time of year while they're rutting. They're so interested in keeping their females in check and chasing off other males or fighting and trying to establish dominance that they literally forget altogether about predators. So the leopards have it a bit easier now, and it's pretty much like taking candy from a baby. And that's why they make a lot of kills at this time. Victoria, it's quite a short gestation period of 6 months with leopard, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I'm always double checking, because I'm always talking about different gestation periods of different animals. So relatively short. And if this is true that she's been mating with Hukumuri and potentially even Tingana, well, it's not going to be too long, and she's going to... sorry, yes, everyone, I was getting confused there. It is 3 months. What am I saying? That is very silly of me. Even shorter. That 3 months, very quick. So, and then they've got very small little babies as well. And I feel very embarrassed now about saying 6 months. Of course, it's only 3. And so what happens then is you've got a very quick gestation period. And then you've got these little cubs that grow very fast as well. Look at Tandi's cubs. Little Tlalamba, she's only just over 6 months old, nearly 7 months old, and she has grown. It's almost unbelievably fast. And so, well, if there has been some mating going on, it could have been already in the last month or so. So we might be surprised in the next month or two with Xidulu disappearing and us finding her with a little bunch of fluffy characters that could join us here in Djuma. It would be absolutely amazing. Now, Diana, it wouldn't potentially be that she's mated with Tingana to cover her bases. Well, in a sense, you might be right, because she potentially have mated with Hukumuri, but she'll mate with any other males that present themselves and can hold themselves within that same territory, because it does then assure a very strong mix of genes, and the strongest genes coming through then. So she could mate with multiple males, and obviously then in such a way making sure that the best genes goes through into her offspring. So I'm very embarrassed now about saying 6 months. It's all the excitement this morning with the wild dogs and the leopards. I'm totally losing my facts, but we've got the answer. Thanks for correcting me, everyone. I'm not shy of being corrected at any time, and well, it's still absolutely fascinating to watch the leopard at close quarters, just after she's made a kill, and she's potentially pregnant with all the shenanigans that's going on with the other males in the area as well. It's all playing out to be a fascinating story. Let's see if Xidulu is now going to be our new local resident female with a potential den. So the wild dogs that are being watched by David in Kenya, they are probably about 6 or 7 kilometers away from us. And so not too far, but far enough that it's not going to be in the next couple of hours that they'll come across each other. If the wild dogs had to move in our direction, it wouldn't take them too long. I would say within an hour if they had to go at full pelt. But they're far enough away that I wouldn't worry too much about them for now. But generally also, if the wild dogs had to come up here onto quarantine, she'll probably just go straight up the tree back to where that impala kill is. So there's always an opportunity or possibility for interactions, but it's very interesting indeed. And we'll just have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be another leopard showing up here for a little bit of takeaways from Tandi's kill that's up the tree there, because there's a lot of fresh meat still on that male impala, and I'm sure there'll be some animals coming around. Now, Xidulu, are you going to go for a little snooze? Are you going to go for a drink? Or are you just going to stay doing nothing? That we'll have to just wait and see, everyone. I'm not going anywhere, and I think someone else who's not leaving his position is David with those wild dogs.
Well, Xidulu can come here if she would like some water. We've got lots of water in this waterhole here. But now, the wild dogs here are all facing in one direction, because where they're looking at, there were 2 male impalas chasing each other. See whether, Craig, you can get them. Very good job, Craig, there. And you can see the one there doing its business there. And these 2 guys were chasing each other, and they were snorting as much as, this time around is the ratting season, and one chased the other one away, and you can see the direction they're going, and that one picked. Look at them running at each other, and I do not know whether they know how dangerous the direction they're going could be for them. And the wild dogs picked the sound or their calls first, and they're all looking in that direction. And you never know what may happen here, because the wild dogs are all concentrating on the impalas on the move, and they're moving towards the right, those impalas, and you can see, say, 3 of the wild dogs there are like glued to the movement of those impalas. Let's just wait and see what could happen. They have been known to tear them apart when they are alive. And the ratting season brings a lot of elevated male hormones. Now there are 3 impalas there. A lot of elevated male hormones to the impalas, and sometimes they are not very, very careful when they chase each other. So we got 3 impalas now, from 1 to 2 to 3, and the wild dogs might like, okay, too far, maybe later. My best friend, the dog with the collar, you say you think it's a male. I would agree with you. Yes, I think it's a male, and hopefully it could be the dominant male. That is my guess. Or maybe the people doing research on them have found out he is always able to give them very good feedback on the radio. Yes, I mean, my best friend, I would think you're right. It's a male, yes, and could be the pair, the breeding pair. Thank you for that observation there, my best friend. Where does my best friend come from, Luke? Chris asked what happens about the dog mating, sorry? Sorry, I can still get your question, Luke. What about mating the dog? Chris, if I got your question is, what would stop the other dogs from mating? I would say the hierarchy here, it's very, very clear and is in black and white. Once they establish the hierarchy, you'll get the dominant male and the dominant female taking care of that, and any other male that will try to mate is aggressively stopped by the dominant pair. And all right. Still is on the hunt.
All right, everyone, this is very exciting. Xidulu has spotted another 2 impala rams that are busy fighting. Now, look, I'm just going to go up on the side here, and I just want to show you what I mean, because those 2 impala rams just up ahead, they're having a full go at each other, and Xidulu has spotted them, and she's now sneaking up. It is incredible. Look at this. And exactly what I was saying, these impala are so silly. They are really silly. I just need to move a little bit further around so that we could get a potential view of this whole thing, because she's going now behind perfect cover there. There she goes. Into the sun. Get you in the shade a bit. Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Ralph Kirsten. We're in the Djuma concession of the Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa, and we've got a leopard that is busy stalking 2 ram impalas. She's just coming through. These ram impalas, they are rutting at the moment, and they are really forgetting themselves. We've got a female leopard called Xidulu. She's just hiding in the thickets there, and she is really interested in these 2 because they're forgetting about everything except fighting with each other. So she's in there. She's just poking her head. She's looking towards us now, but those rams are moving up a little bit. I think she might still... Yeah, she's just behind those brown leaves there, Davy, if you can see that. There, yeah. Just a little bit to the right. There, she's there, right in the center of the screen. That's her there. So she's watching those impala there, and they are still continuing with their rut, with their fight, and we might see this whole thing play out here. She got nice and close to them, but she's stopped now again. But now they're moving down towards us, and now there's a 3rd male impala now joining the fray, trying to establish dominance. And I must tell you that she has already killed an impala last night. She's eaten a bit of it. She's hung the rest up in the tree. Hyenas have been around. They've eaten some of her kill. But now it looks like she's going for another chance. And there's obviously some of the lodges in the area are also joining us. A very exciting time this, with the leopard on the hunt and being on the kill. It's in a very open area that we are in on quarantine in the central part of the Djuma concession. So she's now just making herself really away from being seen. So please send your questions, everybody, on the Facebook pages. There she goes. I wonder... I'm just getting ready to move. Oh, there's a Franklin that's maybe given her away if she just needs to stay still now. Those impala haven't spotted her yet. They're still going back to their fight. There they go. Look at that. There's a chance. You see, every time they start to fight. Now, Paula, thanks for your comment. This is beautiful. Absolutely agree. And this is life and the battles for survival that's unfolding right in front of us. Two male impala fighting over dominance, fighting to be able to have the right to spread their genes with a group of females. Meanwhile, a female leopard staring them down, hoping for a chance to possibly kill one of them and get life-supporting protein from the meat that they are carrying. So it's all very, very interesting and fascinating indeed. This impala seem to be moving off slightly, but it all can change very quickly with them running straight down, chasing each other. She's still remaining quite hidden, and there the impala are. Ina from the Philippines, thanks for your comment. This is breathtaking. Well, look how dead still she's sitting. She doesn't want to give away her position. As the impala just moved behind that one vehicle there. And sometimes they can even use a vehicle as cover. It's quite surprising, but those impala still just moving through. Royce, this is Shudulu, the sort of nomadic female leopard that has been moving through the area. She's between 3 and 4 years old, so she's a young female. She hasn't as yet had a litter of her own, but it is believed that she is mating with at least one male in the area, Hukumuri, who has been following her around for the last few weeks. And well, it remains to be seen if she's going to den soon, within the next month or two, and it would be wonderful if she did so in the close vicinity of our Djuma camp, and we could then be able to view them regularly as well. See, she wouldn't be as committed as she would be if she hadn't made a kill last night. She would potentially have a little bit more energy in this chase to take out one of these males, because I think she's already done exactly that last night. While two males were fighting, she's probably taken the chance and killed one, and half of it is still hanging in the tree. So she's just being an opportunist at the moment, because these males are fighting, not having noticed her. She's just going to see if she can get some more. She could go and stash that one as well. And then she can really relax for the next week or so. So it's not a stupid thing to do. But, as I say, I don't think that her whole heart is in it, because she's already had a feed and she's still got food waiting as well. Mohammed, thanks for your question. Well, there are quite a few leopard kills that do get stolen by other leopards, sometimes hyena and lion, but that's the reason why they do take it up in the trees. And you see how she was just marking there? I think this little hunt might potentially be over for the time being. I don't think with her marking like that she's actually still on the hunt itself. She's stopped there now. So everyone, I don't think that this is going to be a successful hunt, but thank you for watching on the Facebook platform, and to any of our other viewers, there she goes, showing her tail. Goodbye for now. So thanks everyone to all our regular viewers. I was just doing a small action broadcast there in the hopes that she was actually going to make a kill, but with her starting to mark and carry on like that now, I think she's given up the chase, and well, she's just going to be maybe doing some more grooming, maybe go for a drink and those kind of things now. But I think the hunt is definitely over for the time being. But that was very exciting, and you could just a very good indication of how these male ram impala really are quite silly at this time of year, and almost present themselves to be food. Martini impala, they've got relatively good eyesight because they need to have it to be able to survive the predators like Xidulu, and they will notice movement, and they'll also notice the specific. Let's just stop there and see. She's going to mark now. That's also keeping her claws sharp, but also marking a little bit there. Nice to see. You know, when you put up a little scratching post for your kitty cat at home, well, it's not really. Our cats use tree stumps and really big scratching posts. I'm going to just move. All right, let's see if she pops out the other side of this little thicket and see her walking through it. But it's amazing how she almost disappears as soon as there's a little bit of vegetation. Hey, look at that. So impala would be able to pick up a little bit of movement like that, but then they generally stop and stare and wait and see, and they do know these predators very well too. Their lives depend on it, so it's very important for them. And I'm hoping that she may come and lie on this stump here and present herself for us. Spare Cat, I agree with you, saying this is a great sighting. It is very special, isn't it? Xidulu has made my day and started off like this. Absolutely wonderful. And this is going to be us for pretty much the better part of today, I think. Following her, hanging around this meat. Okay, I think I need to just relocate and catch up with her a little bit before she disappears, because we've been searching for leopard and anything exciting for the last few days, and this is our reward after lots of hard work. Ooh, what has she spotted? I wonder if it's another leopard. She got very quickly in behind that marula, like she had spotted something up ahead. So let's just pop ourselves into the shade here and watch. Oh, I wonder if it's hyenas. Is it something is now irritating her? Are they irritating her, or she's... What is it, girl? What is it? She's spotted something that in that direction. Just pop in here behind her. I don't want to disturb, but she's spotted something up ahead. I wonder if it's a hyena or another leopard. Okay, Luke is saying straight ahead of us, directly below the tree, there's something. There's something in there that, I don't know if it's a leopard or a hyena, but she's really interested by it. She's now running down the branch. I wonder if she's just trying to identify who it is. You see, with that meat being up in the tree, that smell is wafting around. There will be other predators coming to investigate. There can be another leopard, there can be lions, there can be hyenas. But with her running sort of a little bit towards it, I'm of the opinion that it is a leopard. And with her going up the tree like that, she's almost going up to identify exactly who it is, to see if it's friend or foe. That's my gut feel. So I'm hoping I'm right, because it could mean that there's another leopard then joining the fray. You know, you would think it would also be the males trying to entice the females in with the prize of meat, but it seems now it might be the opposite way around. Maybe she's enticing the males in with this prize of meat and possibly mating rights as well. Very interesting. But look at her now climbing on this dead tree stump. It's wonderful. A little bit of marking there going as well, rubbing her head. I'm still fascinated to know what she spotted over in that direction. Whatever it is, it hasn't shown itself just yet. I see why we can't leave a leopard, especially one of Xidulu's nature, anytime soon, because she really is an active cat, and she could do anything at any moment. She could do another hunt. She could fight with another leopard. she could mate. The possibilities are endless. So for us to leave her now would be silly, especially when we've been struggling for the last few days for our spotted cats. And lots of marking. She is really making her presence known. And that was a good indication when she was potentially going to hunt. As soon as she marked, then I knew, okay, game is up, because she's not going to announce herself next to impala if she's going to try and eat them. Well, it seems Xidulu is quite the climbing expert, but I believe somebody else wants to join the competition. Let's see if he or she is any better.
I am doing much better. I think I'm a much better climber than Xidulu. Look how high I am in this marula tree. Very high. Willem is standing on the biggest termite mound I think I've seen for a long time, so he's almost at eye level to me. And what attracted me to this tree, well, actually, I'll be honest with you, what attracted me to this tree was the thought of climbing it, so that's why we came up here. But you can see I'm standing on a very conveniently placed ledge, out of which some grass is growing. You see that, Willem? Now, this grass has obviously seeded here. It's been sent here by the wind. It looks like guinea grass, Panicum maximum, and clearly it's grown in a sort of, well, I suppose we call it hydroponic, but it's basically in rotting wood. It's grown in rotting wood that's formed a kind of soil, and here it sits up here. And I mean, if I was a bird, this is where I would have my nest. It would be a really salubrious place to live. If I was the size of something like, say, a hardy dar, and it would be an excellent, safe place to raise my kids. And that's what climbed, or what attracted us up this marula tree. The marula has obviously got many stories to tell, because you can see it's gnarled and broken. It's obviously been snapped in half a few times by both wind and elephant, and up here, where I'm standing, you can see that most of the main trunk has disappeared. And in fact, you can see it there on the ground below, Wumpy. You can see it there. So I suspect that was blown off, and it was blown off because the heartwood has rotted. The heartwood has rotted, of course, because I suspect some beetles managed to get in here and create some kind of fungal infection. Cobalt, you say, yes, I'm higher than Xidulu. That is wonderful to hear. And I must say the view from up here is absolutely magnificent. There are so few places here where you can actually get a view, because the landscape is so flat. YouTube viewer, you make a joke, but it's a really important one given the context of yesterday and today. You say, why don't you drag an impala up here? Well, obviously I couldn't. And Willem and I yesterday found that dead impala, and we turned it over and picked it up. I mean, it's heavy. It's probably we know it weighs around 60 kilograms, which is about 8 kilograms less than I weigh. There is no way that I could have got a 60 kilogram impala up this tree. It's simply impossible. Certainly not by holding it with my teeth. So the strength of a leopard is put into true context, I suppose, when you climb a tree like this, and when the day before you've been playing with a fully grown male impala carcass. Marvellous. Okay, I suppose I should probably try and get down now. And because Luke is new, unlike Kirsten, he will allow us to go across to someone else, and in this case David, rather than watch me try and fall out of this tree.
I do not know what James loves by climbing trees. Maybe in his previous life he was an arboreal human creature who loved to live on top of trees. I fear going up trees, especially here in South Africa, because I've had boomslangs, or those green snakes tend to be on top of those trees. But now we are still with our wild dogs, and we got a waterbuck, female waterbuck, coming for a drink. I'm not sure whether she can see the doggies, but we are just waiting, because this is one scenario we have that might turn out to be very, very dramatic. The wild dogs are in the same place they were They haven't moved an inch. They have repositioned themselves, turned around, face different directions, but same area, give or take about 10 meters square where they've been. But now the waterbuck is slowly coming to drink. It's looking not very sure it can see the dogs or not. But sorry, there might be another caveat. That's the waterbuck I'm talking about. She's not alone. She got others behind her, and you can see the impalas also there in the background. We do not know what will happen here, but slowly the wild dogs are waking up. They're all looking, ears up. There's a bit of intent there of like, do we make a move or don't we make a move? Food is so close to them now. And I would imagine they are communicating and agreeing and thinking, look, like, what do we do here? In the meantime, you can see a bit of greetings going on and a bit of urine marking there. We just saw, and the male was just trying to smell, sniffing the female there. And oh, that submission, that could be the dominant female, I would guess. Lisa, you're asking if the wild dogs would go for the waterbuck. 100%. They have done it before. You would have seen them smash waterbucks down. Yes, they would go for the waterbucks, Lisa. So they make one mistake here, these wild dogs will go for them. And I'll tell you, Lisa, wild dogs are some of the most successful hunters. I would say 80% of their hunts are always successful, very successful, compared to the lions, compared to the leopards, compared to the cheetahs, because they hunt in numbers. And they'll always tend to run and outrun and out-tire their prey. And they'll keep running for a long, long time. You'll see them making a V-shape kind of hunting strategy when they go for their prey. Ravinda, I counted 8. Let me recount them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many can you see, Craig? 7 or 8? Well, I think it's 7. I might have counted 1, 2 times because of my excitement earlier. I think, Ravinda, there's 7, Ravinda. Ravinda, would you have seen this pack before on our earlier game drives, Ravinda? Maybe you'd be able to ask Ravinda for me that. He'll give you the answer. Here, another impala there. That's all rutting going on, all the confusion going on, and we are not leaving this place in the near future. One dog is up. I do not know what that means. And there he goes, and there he's running. One goes, second one goes. And they just stopped. I do not know what they're thinking. Craig, do you want us to reposition or stay right here? Well, but two, sir, there's a car there on the way. Roger, I gotta reposition the car very quickly, and let's see what's gonna happen here. This could be very exciting, eh? How's that, Craig? Good? Stop there. Okay. Stop. Look at the wild dogs. They are running. They're all going now, chasing impalas. Sorry about that. There they are. They keep running. They're running. Impalas off. Wild dog stopped. And how insane is this, eh? See the impalas, they're out of scale. They're running, leaping up in the air and saying they're not ready to be brought down. Let's move forward a little bit. That way. This can be very exciting, eh? What a morning this is, eh? Shidulu with a kill, Shidulu trying to hunt, wild dogs hunting here. So let's reposition ourselves in a different place and see what will happen. But you can tell here, there's a lot of fear. The good Craig. Alrighty, let's get close to the wild dogs. Craig thinks we'll have a better profile. Hang on for a minute. All exciting, very, very close to Chitwa Lodge. Hang on here. Let's see how it's going to play out now. We got 3 dogs on one side, 2 on one side, and 2 are still in the same position they were before. So you see those retreating back to where the pack has been laying down the last few minutes. Head down, going to rejoin the rest of the pack. Those are the 2 that made the dash to go for the waterbuck. Running, going back to rejoin the others. So they might change plans and maybe re-strategize and come up with new ideas of how to go for a kill. Chris, you're saying yes, there's so much action today. I mean, James walking out there, Shidulu giving us a very good start for the morning and trying to dash for some prey earlier. And these wild dogs here, just a few minutes ago, wanting to go for a waterbuck. Yes, that has been quite a morning. Lots of action there. Greetings going on. And this should be the proper maybe start for them for the day. Craig, do we move closer to the dogs? So allow me to move a bit closer to the dogs and continue with the action. Ralph, tell us, what could you be up to? What's Shidulu doing?
Well, everyone, we still haven't worked out what exactly she spotted down in the grass that she ran towards and then seemed to be a little bit wary of, and then went up the stump, and then now she's just gone and laid down nice and quietly. Howdy, folks. Hello. Enjoying the sighting? Yes, we are, but not a problem. Do you know where Tandy and the cub is? Tandy and her cub are still in that Drakensberg block near to Drakensberg, and she keeps on going west out of the traverse and then coming back. So she crosses over into what is a Torchwood, and then she comes back. But she's in that block with Tlalamba regularly, so I'm sure she's around there, but we've been struggling to find her. Yeah.
I heard there were dog sightings as well. Have you seen them?
Yes, it's on Chitwa. I haven't seen it. The other guy is with them at the moment. Okay, they're on the move at the moment, so they might be coming this way. I'm not quite sure. But right up to that corner, yeah, if you go and hang at that corner, yes, and have a look. And see the cut line. It's up in the tree just over there, yes. No, it was last night. We also heard the hyenas cackling and carrying on. So I think it's just up in the tree. So it was around, I would say, between 3 and 4 o'clock this morning that she actually made the kill. Not this morning. We saw there were lions yesterday. Where were they, Davy? I think they were by Buffelshoek Dam, and also there was 2 separate males. I think one near to Sydney's dam and one near to Buffelshoek. Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll go see if we see the water.
Okay, well, good luck, huh? At least there's excitement this morning, huh? Last couple of days has been quiet.
Our son phoned, he said, hey, you on television?
Yeah.
We're going to ask you how much we get for our act.
Just ask.
All right. Perfect. Well, everybody, you enjoy your day, huh? And good luck. Good luck. Thank you very much. Yes, we've been working hard for them. Well, there we go, everyone. Just having a chat with a couple of the locals that are moving around trying to find animals just like us. And so you were just a little bit part of that conversation. I haven't forgotten about you, the most important viewers, but we do like to interact with everybody around us and chat with the locals and see what they've spotted. Maybe they've spotted something nice and early this morning. Antoinette, they can sleep. Leopards can sleep, up to about 18 hours a day, but it all depends on what has happened and what they have fed on recently. So, for instance, now I think Xidulu will spend some time sleeping, but it's not quite as regular, I would say, as lions. If lions go down at this time of the morning, you can pretty much guarantee that they will be here this afternoon by the time you get here. So the lions generally sleep during the day and sometimes right into the night as well, and then they will get up at a certain time in the night and do some hunting, maybe have a drink, do some marking, and then they go back to sleep. Whereas leopards, she could get up at any moment now. She could go back and have a feed, she could go and have a drink. So for me, leopards, not such a set pattern of almost day and night where you can guarantee that if I had to leave here now, I would be worried that she's not going to be here when I get back. She maybe move to the kill, as I say, have a drink, do some marking, and etc. So that's why it's important to spend more time with leopards, especially during the day, because you can't guarantee that she'll be here when you get back. The one guarantee that we do have is that there's still meat up in the tree, and it's pretty sure then that she's going to go and have another bite off of that. But it does make, for me, leopards slightly more exciting than lions, especially if you spot lions during the day, because if they're sleeping, you can pretty much guarantee the only action you might get is the flick of a tail or one of the lions rolling on its back, or something like that, so it's quite limited in terms of action with lions during the day. And that's in general. Obviously, you can get some wonderful days when it's overcast and cool, or just out of the ordinary where they do hunt and carry on during the day. But in general, lions are very stationary during the day. So that was a very strange behavior we had from Xidulu up on top of that log, but it seems James has got some other kind of strange behavior as well.
That's quite a clever link, Ralphie. I suppose this is quite strange behavior. Lying down at work, fast asleep on the job. Well, not fast asleep, but certainly having a good relax as the azure sky goes a deep, deep winter blue. Oh, it's so pleasant. Viam said to me, I think I'm tired of this now. I said, what? What do you mean, Viam? He said, well, finding nothing, walking around sweaty. I said to him, would you rather be driving somewhere in the traffic? And he said, no. And he had acknowledged that although we weren't finding anything, it was actually quite pleasant. Not so, Viam? He said he'd rather be driving to the Kalahari, which is another wonderful wilderness area that we have here. Okay, now, what I wanted to show you here, other than my superb sleeping position, was the gummy grass, which I mentioned 2 days ago on walk. It wasn't yesterday. And this is the gummy grass, and I've made a lot of mention about aphids and drop-tailed ants that eat the aphids, etc. And I think I've discovered the reason why gummy grass has the gum. Now, on the nodes here, especially on fresh examples of this grass, it's very sticky. It's still sticky, but it doesn't have an obvious kind, it'll leave a sort of gluey string if you do that on the fresh grass. Let me move some of these behind away. All right, Devian? Mm-hmm. And I think that the aphids are feeding on the seeds of many of the grass plants, and I think that this gum stops them. And so the aphids come climbing up here, they get stuck on the gum, and they're first forced to either retreat or go away, and perhaps even the ants come up and milk them while they're stuck there on the gum. And in so doing, these very small seeds are protected. Is that not clever? Liam looks about as enthralled with my story as he might if you were telling him about a complicated chess move. Anyway, that's the story of the gummy grass, Eragrostis rigidor. It is rigidor? No, it's not. It's Eragrostis gummy fleur. Phew, that was nearly a mistake. Did you see that, Liam? Mm-hmm. Okay, let us continue. We heard some elephants down here, and so we're heading down towards the big brown ivory tree on the southern boundary. Sharon, you said you saw an unidentified worm in the grass. Are you referring to me as a worm? Sharon, that's not very nice. It's not very good for my ego, for me to think that you're watching me within an image in your mind of a worm. Let's worm our way along, Viam. Thank you very much. Luke's just telling me I shouldn't be too upset. It's only Sharon who thinks I'm a worm, but the rest of you don't think I'm a worm. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Now, here we... Oh, before I tell you about this tree, Gypsy, you were very kindly asking about my left buttock. I have to say, Gypsy, it's not very well. It's still quite sore. There's a muscle deep inside there that I've done something to. Anyway, Geraldine has given me a roller, and every time I go walking now I must sit on it and roll around a bit, which is very painful, but apparently it's going to help. I hope. Here we have one of the very few Virchilia trees that we find both here and in Kenya, and it is Virchilia gerardii, what we call the red thorn here, and in Kenya they call Gerard's thorn, which is ridiculous. Anyway, this is it, Virchilia gerardii, much favoured by the elephants, and I don't know why it is that it's only found, why so few of them are found in both places, but this one is found in both places, and so if you were to ask David about Virchilia trees in his vicinity, he would tell you about Virchilia gerardii, or the red thorn. Marvellous. Let us continue. Herbert is up further ahead, looking for signs of the elephants, and so let's head across to the great Virchilia gerardii finder himself and his wild dogs.
Yes, the Virchilias are also found in Kenya. I do not know why they changed their original name. We have always called them thorn trees for many, many years. But I think the name they changed to Virchilia from was the acacia. And I loved acacia. And acacia was a very iconic name of the trees in Africa. Well, that's very true, James. And the wild dogs have not gone anywhere. And if Ravinda, you are still watching, I now have the actual count. I initially told you 7. I profusely apologize for having not given you the right number. And they are 8, not 7, 8. And I think out of my excitement, I couldn't give you the right count because I was looking up and down and saying in my heart, wild dogs, wild dogs, wild dogs. Yes, Ravinda, if you're still on, watching, they are 8 and not 7. Sorry about that. So they changed the plans they had earlier of going to bring a waterbuck down, and now they look relaxed, resting. Some of them are a little grooming. And from what I saw earlier on their bellies, they looked very, very full. Thank you for identifying this particular park as a breakaway on Vestic. Very good to know. I mean, I'm still learning my way around in South Africa. And yes, I will keep this. First, keep the number and see. James Richard, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm happy you've been following this particular park and you can identify it positively, James Richard. Very well done. And for me, it's my first time to see this park. And hopefully I'll be able to pick a few IDs, either on the mail to be, or that trying, maybe I don't know where she's limping a little bit, to be able to identify them in the future. Should I see them again? All coming together like in a small little den there. I would say it's getting rather hot for them, and it is interesting now. They looked rather cold earlier, but now it could be getting warm for them, and they've gone under the shade of that tree there, and there's a little hole like a den, and they've been known always to bring or to live in dens, especially when during reproduction time for them. James, you'd like to know if wild dogs have a particular breeding season in Kenya. I would say not really. You'd see the breeding pair, the dominant pair, will have pups any time, around the year, and it could be 2 times, 3 times, sometimes even 4 times in a year, with a breeding period or gestation period of about 10 weeks. You could see the breeding pair or the dominant pair would have like 3 liters, 4 liters in a year. Not in particular, James. They don't have a particular time or season, unlike the wildebeest or the impalas here, for them to have their litters. I hope, James, that helps to answer your question. Nancy, you'd like to know how full are these wild dogs? And I can tell you from what I've seen maybe 6, 7 of them have been able to look at their bellies. 6. Oh, sorry, my apologies. How tall are the wild dogs? Let me see if I can wait for one of them to stand up. But I would give you an estimate of about 60 to 75 centimeters. 60 to 75 centimeters, that could be about 2.5 feet. That could be their height from the shoulders to their toes. So, Nancy, you would like to know how tall the wild dogs could be, and I would say it could be anything between 2 feet to 2.5 feet, or if you do metric, it could be about 60 or 75 centimeters. And that is also very close to both males and females. There's some species of animals you get the males being much taller, but these particular ones here, for the wild dogs, both males and females, will be of the same height. Nancy, you'd like to know if wild dog ears are bigger than hyena ears. I would say yes, depending on what species of hyenas you're talking about. We got the spotted hyenas, we got the brown hyenas, we got the striped hyenas. If we would compare them to the spotted hyenas, I think they got slightly larger ears than the spotted hyenas. Not very sure about that, but that would be my guess. What do you think, Nancy? I don't know whether you've been following closely the spotted hyenas, which we see more than the other 2 species of hyenas, but I would say the wild dogs could have slightly larger. You realize how they need them to locate any sound, any call out there. For example, when we got here, we had all those impalas snorting and shouting and chasing each other, and that's what the wild dogs picked up, and they went their ears in that direction. So hyenas, maybe they use more smell sometimes than ears, but I would say these guys here, Nancy, they need ears, and maybe the bigger they are, the more it's easier for them to locate any slight sound from any direction. Joshua, you'd like to know what's the main predator threat to wild dogs? I would say myself. I mean, not me as David, but I would say man. Because we have noticed the populations of the wild dogs have been declining, I would say by now by like 30%, looking to what it was, I would say 15, 20 years ago. And they have been known to cause rabies. And if they get to the villages or to people where we live and they bite the domestic dogs, they tend to infect them with rabies. And naturally, people or the villagers don't get very happy. And unfortunately, they tend to poison them. So out here in the wilderness, they do not have much threat because they can handle any other species very, very comfortably. But I would say man Joshua is the biggest threat of these beautiful dogs. Occasionally they might get some infection like say canine distemper or Malaran cut rot, but in general they do not face any threat from any species out here. But man has been over concern for many years. Sharon, interesting question. Are wild dogs dangerous to human beings on foot? I would say, for instance, if I get out of the car now, generally they might maybe choose to walk away. But I would say if you'd surprise them and get them off guard, they might go for you. But in general, I think they are not dangerous to human beings. I can't remember one incident where I had a human being, especially where I come from in Kenya, who, was killed by a wild dog, Sharon. And mostly they've been used to seeing, say, us maybe in the cars, diesel-smelling big machines, but not very easy to see human beings, unless when you're doing bushwalks. But I would say, yeah, chances are if I step out of this car right now, they would slowly move away from me. Well, they might continue being flat here, waiting, seeing later on if they might be a bit active. And someone also has another flat predator.
Yes, and well, going from flat dogs to flat cat, and it seems now Shidulu has totally calmed down with whatever she had spotted there in the long grass, down from us, sort of in the southerly direction. We've come down into that particular area. We haven't seen anything what she may have had interest in, but now she's lost interest in whatever it was, and she's going for a snooze. I think after the night's activity and the food in her belly, it all equals a lot of lost energy, and she needs to now just have a little bit of a cat nap. So I want to put it to everybody, because we live in a democracy here in our beautiful South Africa. I want to make it a vote to see, what do you think? Should we sit here and see what Xidulu gets up to? She might stay flat for quite a long time, but she could also get up and move at any moment. There could be leopards and lions or anything else coming out. So my vote is first and foremost to say I think we should stay, but I want everybody else to say what they feel. And I think if there is a tie, we're going to give the deciding vote to the cameraman, my wingman Davy, and he's going to then decide what we're going to do exactly. But put your votes in. What do you think we should do? Should we go and do a loop and maybe check out that kill and go and see if we can find any other leopards returning a little bit later before the end of the drive? Or should we sit here and see? She might not do anything, but anything is possible. So what do you think? So while we wait for that poll results and what you think we should do for the next couple of hours, let's head on over to James and see what he's going to do for the remainder of the walk.
I must say, I don't think that I would have been as kind as Ralph has been to you. I would not be leaving that leopard. I think I'd stay with her for as long as humanly possible. We've stopped here at Combretum collinum, the variable bush willow. And it is so called, I think, because the leaves are of such variable size. There it is. And it looks somewhere between a large fruited bush willow and a red bush willow. One of the most commonly misidentified bush willows that we have here. I hope I haven't misidentified it. Look at the size of that leaf. Now this is Combretum woodland that we're walking through, or bush willow woodland, and this is one of the most common trees making up that bush willow woodland. The other obvious ones being the red bush willow, the russet bush willow, and the leadwood. But this one, with its very large leaf, is very distinctive. And I think it's quite a nice tree. As with all of these Combretum trees, they would grow into big furniture-producing trees that you could cut planks of, except for the fact that they live amongst elephants. Now, the other confusing thing about a tree like this is that when a tree gets young shoots, it will often produce much larger leaves. And Indigo Girl, you agree with me that this is a very large leaf? It is indeed. So they will often produce large leaves when they're young, but you can see even on the older branches, they have got... Liam, are you hungry? Liam's stomach is giving a bit of a rumble. Even on the older parts of the tree, the leaves are much bigger than they would be on a red bush willow. So that is Combretum collinum, the variable bush willow. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's move on here to this tree. You're right there. Did you kick something? Now, a very good question coming through here from Vespa Martini. Gummy bears do not, in fact, grow on gummy grass, but they do use gummy grass to make their gummy berry juice, and it is... Well, I mean, you've got to be quite careful in an area where gummy grass grows, because, of course, they will completely over-harvest it. They have got no idea of conservation practices or sustainable harvesting of the gummy grass, and so you really need to put in some very strict rules in areas where gummy grass and gummy bears are found in the same place. So, Vespa Martini, excellent question there, and, of course, with a conservation bent to it, which is what we always like. Here is a more mature version of Combretum collinum. Here we are, and quite an attractive tree when left to its own devices and not pulled to pieces by elephants. Yes, I hear you all saying, ah, in absolute amazement at Combretum collinum. Good. Now, let us move on to an evergreen tree, not a evergreen tree, I'm not Chandre. Careful there, Viam. And this is, of course, the torchwood, Balanites magami. Now, for many years, I thought to myself, I've embarrassed myself by taking the seeds, breaking them open and trying to light them, because I would tell people that the seeds have got an oil in them that burns. Well, I've never found any oil that burns. And the other day I was walking with Herbert, and he said, no, it's not the seeds. If you take a piece of this, the green leaves, they will catch fire. And I don't think they burn very hot, but he says that's what people used to use as torches. So I've yet to try that, actually. Have you got your lighter with you? No. Do you have a lighter with you? I don't have a lighter. Oh, you don't have a lighter? Oh, no, we don't have a lighter here. All right, good. And then there's a caterpillar here. Oh, here he is. Let me fish him out for you. He's in amongst the nasty green thorns. Come here, my friend. Yes, there we go. Now, I think that's one of the acria caterpillars, and I suspect that he is using the toxins somewhere here, or sequestering some kind of toxin from this Balanites tree. Shall we heat him up and see if he moves a bit? He's not quite as cooperative as the... he's moving a bit.
You did brush your teeth this morning.
I did brush my teeth, yes. Yes.
that's why it's moving.
No, he'd be dead if I hadn't. He'd be stone dead. Thank you, Vim, for asking. Anyway, I think that's an acria. Beautiful butterflies. And he's quite a beautiful caterpillar, I think. Yellows and blacks. Covered in warning signs. Basically says to predators, don't eat me. I am not edible. Judy H., you say we haven't had a good chorus of gummy bears since Brian left. Judy H., we haven't. I find that the gummy bear song is best sung in the evening, though. So if you remind me this evening on my drive, I will prevail upon whoever's on camera with me, and if we're very lucky it'll be VM, to sing the gummy bear tune as we drive home, wafting the spotlight from side to side, hopelessly looking for things like bush babies which look like gummy bears.